Have you ever wondered why some people seem unshakable? Why, no matter what happens around them, stress, insults, unexpected problems, or emotional storms, they remain calm, focused, and controlled? It almost feels like they possess a quiet superpower, one that protects them from the chaos of the world. But here's the interesting part. This superpower is not magic. It is not something people are born with. It is a skill, simple, learnable, powerful. And its name is the ability to not react. Today, I want to take you on a journey deep into the heart of emotional strength. I want to show you how mastering your reactions can change the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you live. Because the moment you stop reacting to the small things, the moment you stop giving your energy to negativity, the moment you stop letting your emotions control you, that is the moment your life begins to shift. You gain power. You gain freedom. You gain yourself. But first, let me tell you something important. Something most people never realize. Your greatest battles are not fought in the world outside. They are fought inside your mind. And the most dangerous opponent you will ever face is not another person. It's your own reactions. Reactions that come too fast. Reactions that come without thinking. Reactions that come from fear, anger, insecurity, and impatience. If you do not control these reactions, they will control you. They will make decisions for you. They will shape your character. They will write your story. But today, together, we are going to rewrite that story. We are going to build a stronger, wiser, calmer version of you. One paragraph at a time, one lesson at a time, one quiet moment at a time. So sit back, relax, breathe, because this journey is going to stay with you long after the audiobook ends. This is the power of not reacting. And before we begin, do subscribe and stay tuned for our channel, Achiefly Audiobooks. Chapter 1. The first lesson, the moment before the reaction. Every reaction you have begins with a tiny, almost invisible moment. One so small and so fast that most people live their entire lives without ever noticing it. Something happens. Someone criticizes you. Someone ignores you. A message disappoints you. A situation doesn't go the way you expected, and instantly your emotions rise like a sudden wave. Your chest tightens, your thoughts speed up, your breathing changes, and without even realizing it, you react. But hidden between the event and your reaction is a pause, just a fraction of a second, a brief window where you have the power to choose who you want to be. Most people miss this moment because their emotions move faster than their awareness. Yet this small pause holds enormous power. Imagine it as a single breath, one soft heartbeat, one gentle step back from the noise. In that breath, you can decide whether to react with anger, fear, frustration, or to respond with clarity, wisdom, and intention. Emotionally strong people have mastered this space. They have trained themselves to slow down the moment, to observe their emotions rising without letting those emotions take control. They understand that the wave of emotion is natural, but drowning in it is a choice. And this becomes your first lesson. You may not control what happens around you, but you always control what happens next. Chapter 2. Why reacting quickly steals your power. When you react too quickly, you unknowingly hand over something incredibly valuable, your inner power. Think about it for a moment. Anyone who can anger you on demand controls your emotional state. Anyone who knows exactly what to say to irritate you owns a piece of your mind. Anyone who can trigger you instantly can also weaken you instantly. When someone insults you and you explode in anger, you are not showing strength. You are showing that they have access to your emotional switches. When someone manipulates you and you respond without thinking, you are allowing them to direct your behavior. When a situation goes wrong and you collapse emotionally, you are letting the situation dictate your inner world. Fast reactions may feel strong in the moment, but they are actually signs of emotional vulnerability. Because quick emotion means your peace depends entirely on what happens around you. Emotional strength, however, is different. It means your peace depends on you. The world will not always be fair. People will test your patience, challenge your limits, and push your buttons. Problems will show up uninvited. If every disturbance controls your emotions, your life becomes a constant storm. But when you master the art of not reacting instantly, you become the quiet center of that storm. You become the calm that cannot be disturbed. You choose peace not because everything is peaceful, but because you have learned to create peace inside yourself. And this is a truth you must carry with you. Reactions are natural, but control, true, steady, intentional control, is a choice only the strong make. Chapter 3. The Science of Reaction. What happens inside you. Let's go deeper into what truly happens inside your mind when you react. Every emotional reaction begins in a small but powerful part of your brain called the amygdala. The amygdala controls your fear, anger, stress responses, and instinctive survival reactions. It is incredibly fast, so fast that it can trigger emotions before you even fully understand what is happening. This is why your heart suddenly races when someone criticizes you, or why you instantly feel hurt or angry when something unexpected happens. Your emotional brain speaks first, but there is another part of your brain, a more thoughtful and intelligent part, called the prefrontal cortex. This is the center of logic, decision-making, reasoning, long-term thinking, and emotional regulation. It is responsible for helping you respond instead of react. However, here lies the challenge. The amygdala is quick, and the prefrontal cortex is slow. The emotional brain fires instantly, but the logical brain needs a moment to catch up. That tiny space between what happens and how you respond, the moment we talked about earlier, is the time your logical brain needs to wake up and guide you. Emotional people react before this part of the brain can help them. Calm and emotionally strong people learn to pause, give their mind a moment, and let the thinking brain take control before the emotional brain decides everything. That pause is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of mastery. It is emotional intelligence in action. It is the essence of self-control. Chapter 4. The Art of Pausing. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a powerful river. The water rushes loudly, forcefully, pulling everything in its path. That river represents your emotions, fast, intense, and sometimes overwhelming. Now imagine taking just one small step back. In that single step, the noise softens, the motion becomes clearer, and suddenly you are no longer inside the water. You are observing it. That simple shift is the essence of pausing. A pause does not mean you ignore or suppress your emotions. It means you give yourself enough distance to understand them instead of being controlled by them. It allows you to look at the emotional wave without getting swept away. A pause can be as tiny as taking one slow, deep breath. It can be counting silently to 3 before speaking. It can be looking away from your phone when a message annoys you. It can be taking a sip of water, or gently closing your eyes for a moment to reset your mind. The pause is small, but its impact is enormous. In that brief moment, you prevent unnecessary damage. You avoid saying things you will regret. You protect important relationships. And most importantly, you guard your inner peace. A pause helps you respond as the person you want to become, not as the person your anger, fear, or frustration is pushing you to be. Never forget this simple truth. A pause is not a sign of hesitation or weakness. It is your hidden superpower, the tool that transforms emotional chaos into clarity and control. Chapter 5. The Strength of Silence. Silence is one of the strongest and most underestimated responses a person can give. In a world where everyone feels pressured to speak, react, defend, and argue, silence becomes a rare form of power. Not every comment requires your attention. Not every insult deserves your energy. Not every argument needs to be won. Sometimes, the most powerful, mature, and intelligent thing you can do is simply say nothing and walk away. Silence is not a sign of defeat. It is a sign of control. It shows that you are not controlled by your emotions or by other people's attempts to provoke you. Silence reflects confidence, because only confident people can stay calm while others try to pull them into drama. Silence shows you value your inner peace more than the temporary satisfaction of winning an argument. It means you understand that your emotions are too precious to waste on things that do not matter. There is a saying, when you respond emotionally, you lose. When you respond intelligently, you win. And when you do not respond at all, you rise above the situation completely. Silence is not emptiness. It is intention. It is the choice to protect your energy and maintain your dignity. It is a quiet declaration that you refuse to be dragged into chaos. And in that calm, quiet space, you discover that silence is not weakness. It is strength in its purest form. Chapter 6. Emotional Trigger Awareness. Let's talk about triggers, because understanding them is one of the most important steps in gaining emotional control. A trigger is anything, absolutely anything, that creates a sudden, strong emotional reaction inside you. It might be a specific person whose behavior always irritates you. It might be a particular situation, like being ignored or criticized. It might be a tone of voice that reminds you of past hurt. It might be a memory that still affects you, even years later. It might even be a deep fear you haven't fully faced. Triggers are powerful because they work automatically. They bypass your logical thinking and pull you straight into emotional reaction mode. And here is the hidden danger. If you do not know what your triggers are, they will control your reactions without your permission. So the first step toward emotional strength is awareness. You must honestly ask yourself, what makes me angry faster than anything else? What words or actions hurt me deeply? What situations scare me or make me insecure? What moments make me react too quickly? Which environments make me lose my calm? When you take the time to identify your triggers, you take away their ability to ambush you. Instead of being surprised by your emotions, you begin to predict them. You prepare yourself mentally. You anticipate the emotional wave before it arrives, and because you expect it, you can control it. Awareness doesn't remove the trigger, but it removes the trigger's power. And that awareness becomes the foundation of emotional mastery, the first real step toward becoming someone who responds with intention, rather than reacting from impulse. Chapter 7. The Power of Emotional Distance. Emotional distance does not mean you stop caring, nor does it mean you become cold or detached from life. Instead, it means you stop overreacting to everything around you. It means you stop allowing every comment, every tone, and every unexpected situation to disturb your inner peace. Emotional distance is the skill of stepping back, taking a breath, and observing before responding. When you give yourself this space, you begin to see things more clearly. You understand your own feelings instead of getting lost in them. You stop taking everything personally, because you finally recognize a powerful truth. Not everything is about you. People often project their pain, their stress, and their insecurities onto others without realizing it. Someone's anger may simply be a reflection of their own internal battles. Someone's rudeness may be the result of pressure they feel in their own life. Someone's silence may be caused by struggles they are too afraid or too tired to express. When you develop emotional distance, you stop absorbing these external energies. You stop letting the emotions of others dictate your state of mind. Instead of becoming a sponge that soaks in negativity, you become a mirror that reflects it without holding it. You acknowledge what you see, but you do not let it attach itself to you. This shift is what creates emotional freedom. It allows you to move through life with calmness, clarity, and confidence, regardless of the chaos around you. Emotional distance is not disconnection. It is protection, power, and peace. Chapter 8. Responding versus reacting. There is a powerful difference between responding and reacting, and understanding this difference can completely transform the way you experience life. Reacting is emotional, quick, and automatic. It comes from a place inside you that has not had time to think or understand. It happens when your emotions take the lead before your mind has a chance to catch up. Responding, on the other hand, is thoughtful, intentional, and grounded. It means you take a moment, just a small pause, to understand what is happening before you choose your next move. Reacting is driven by impulse, but responding is guided by wisdom. When you react, your emotions speak for you. When you respond, your intelligence, your maturity, and your self-control speak for you. Ask yourself an important question. Do I want to be controlled by my emotions, or do I want to be controlled by my decisions? This question decides the kind of life you live. Life will continue to give you endless chances to react. Moments that provoke you, frustrate you, or catch you off guard. People will challenge you with their words, their behavior, and their attitudes. Difficult situations will test your patience. But emotionally strong people do not give in to those instant reactions. They choose to respond carefully. They choose their words with intention. They choose actions that align with clarity rather than chaos. When you learn to respond instead of react, you reclaim control over your thoughts, over your emotions, over your relationships, and over your future. You no longer allow temporary feelings to create permanent damage. You become steady, calm, and reliable, even in stressful moments. Always remember this: reacting is easy, but responding is powerful. And the more you practice responding, the more powerful you become. Chapter 9. The Calm Person Advantage. Calmness is a rare strength in a world full of noise, speed, and constant emotional reactions. People naturally gravitate toward those who remain steady when everything around them feels chaotic. Calm people are trusted because they do not allow pressure to shake their judgment. They think before they speak, observe before they act, and understand before they decide. This quality makes them stand out as natural leaders even without trying. Their presence itself becomes reassuring. When someone can stay composed in difficult moments, it sends a message: I am in control, I am not afraid, I can handle this. That kind of energy is magnetic. When you choose not to react emotionally, people around you feel safe. They sense your stability, your patience, and your emotional maturity. They know you will not explode, panic, or spiral when something goes wrong. They know you will not make situations worse with heated reactions. Instead, you bring clarity, calmness, and balance. Your quiet confidence becomes more powerful than loud anger or emotional outbursts. People begin to rely on you, not because you demand respect, but because your behavior earns it naturally. This is why emotional control is not just a personal skill. It is a leadership skill. Leaders are not the loudest people in the room. They are the ones who remain steady when everyone else is losing control. They respond thoughtfully, not impulsively. They choose wisdom over emotion, patience over anger, and clarity over confusion. And because of that, people trust them, respect them, and follow them. When you master calmness, you gain an advantage that sets you apart, not by force, but by presence. You become someone others look to for guidance, support, and stability. Chapter 10. When you do not react, you win. Here is a truth that many people never learn in their entire lives. Most problems lose their power the moment you stop reacting to them. It may sound simple, but it is one of the greatest emotional strategies you will ever master. Arguments end faster when you refuse to fuel them with anger. Conflicts fade when you refuse to add emotional fire. Drama collapses when you do not participate in it. People who try to provoke you eventually give up when they realize you are not easily shaken. Negative energy cannot survive without attention. Your reaction is the oxygen that keeps it alive. When you take away that oxygen, the fire naturally burns out. Think about how much emotional damage comes not from the situation itself, but from the way we react to it. A rude comment becomes a long argument because we respond emotionally. A small mistake turns into a huge problem because we panic. A simple misunderstanding becomes a broken relationship because we let anger take control. But when you choose not to react, you take away the power that negativity has over you. You rise above the situation instead of sinking into it. You protect your peace, your strength, and your clarity. Non-reaction does not mean you ignore everything. It does not mean you avoid problems or run away from responsibility. Instead, it means you choose your battles wisely. You understand what deserves your time and what does not. You understand when to speak and when silence is the smarter choice. You understand that not every situation deserves your emotional energy. When you stop reacting to small things, you save your power for the things that truly matter. This is not avoidance. This is wisdom. This is emotional maturity. This is winning by staying in control of yourself. Chapter 11. The Emotional Warrior Mindset. Every single day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, you face a battlefield. But the battlefield is not out in the world. It is inside your mind. Your thoughts, your emotions, your impulses, your fears, your insecurities, your past. These are the forces you must deal with. And in this battlefield, You have a choice: to be a slave to your emotions or to become a warrior of your mind. An emotional warrior is not someone who fights others. They do not waste their strength on unnecessary conflicts. Instead, they fight the most difficult opponent, themselves. Their mission is to master their reactions, discipline their thoughts, and act with intention rather than impulse. A true warrior does not attack every time they feel anger. They do not panic every time they feel fear. They do not respond every time they feel provoked. A warrior understands that emotions are temporary, but actions create consequences. So instead of reacting instantly, they breathe, they observe, they choose. They respond with clarity, not chaos. Emotional strength does not come from avoiding discomfort. It comes from standing in the middle of the storm and refusing to let the storm change who you are inside. Emotional warriors know when silence is wiser than words, when patience is stronger than aggression, when walking away is more powerful than fighting for the sake of pride. Strength is not defined by how loudly you react, how quickly you speak, or how intensely you feel. Strength is defined by your ability to remain clear when everything around you becomes loud. Emotional warriors do not seek control over the world. They seek control over themselves. And that is the greatest victory any person can achieve. Chapter 12. The Power of Slow Thinking. When you learn to slow down your thinking, you give yourself one of the greatest gifts: clarity. Most people think fast not because they are smart, but because they are scared. Fast thinking is driven by instinct, by panic, by ego, by the need to defend yourself immediately. It is the thinking of someone who feels threatened, someone who believes they must react now or lose control. But slow thinking, true slow thinking, comes from a place of inner strength. It comes from wisdom. It comes from the calm confidence of someone who knows that time is not the enemy, but the ally. Slow thinking does not mean delaying everything. It means taking just enough time to let your emotions settle, to let your mind return to balance, to let your judgment become clear. This is why there is a powerful truth often used in high-pressure professions. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. When you slow down your thoughts, your actions become cleaner, sharper, and more intentional. You avoid avoidable mistakes. You prevent unnecessary conflicts. You understand situations more deeply. You protect your peace rather than sacrificing it to impulse. The next time you feel your emotion rising, your hands shaking, your heart racing, your words ready to burst out, pause and tell yourself, slow down, breathe, think, then respond. This one simple habit can save arguments, strengthen relationships, create better decisions, and transform the way you handle life's challenges. Slow thinking is not just a technique. It is a lifestyle of wisdom. It is the way emotionally strong people move through the world, with clarity, with intention, and with power. Chapter 13. The Emotional Mirror Technique. Emotionally strong people have a powerful method for staying calm, even when someone tries to provoke them. It is called the Emotional Mirror Technique. Instead of reacting instantly, instead of letting their emotions take control, they mentally step back and observe the situation as if they are looking into a mirror, one that reflects the truth behind what is happening. When someone behaves rudely, they do not immediately think, "They are attacking me." Instead, they ask deeper questions. Why is this person acting this way? What is happening inside them? What emotion is driving their behavior? This reflection allows them to see the situation with wisdom instead of ego. Sometimes the person is stressed. Sometimes they are insecure. Sometimes they are hurting. Sometimes they want attention. And sometimes their behavior has nothing to do with you at all. By using the emotional mirror technique, you create emotional distance, a space where your feelings settle and your mind becomes clear. And clarity is power. It helps you decide whether a reaction is necessary or whether silence is the stronger choice. It helps you understand what deserves your energy and what does not. It helps you respond intelligently instead of emotionally. When you mirror the situation instead of absorbing it, you protect your peace, your dignity, and your emotional strength. This technique is simple, but it changes everything. It turns provocation into understanding, confusion into clarity, and reaction into control. Chapter 14. Letting go of the need to be right. One of the greatest sources of emotional conflict is the human desire to be right. People argue not because the topic truly matters, but because their ego refuses to step back. The ego wants to win. The ego wants to prove itself. The ego wants the final word. And in that chase for validation, people lose something far more valuable than the argument. They lose their peace. Emotionally strong individuals understand a powerful truth. Winning an argument is meaningless if it costs you your calm, your dignity, or your happiness. The ego may feel satisfied for a moment, but the emotional turmoil it creates lasts much longer. Letting go of the need to be right does not mean you let others walk over you. It does not mean you accept things that are wrong. It simply means you choose your battles wisely. You understand that not every disagreement deserves your time, that not every opinion requires correction, and that sometimes silence speaks louder than any explanation. Emotionally strong people focus on inner peace, not outer victory. They realize that peace grows when the ego shrinks. When you walk away from pointless arguments, you are not losing. You are rising above the chaos. You are choosing clarity over pride. You are valuing your mental stability over temporary satisfaction. Sometimes the greatest victory is not proving yourself right, but proving to yourself that your peace is more important than your ego. Chapter 15. Practicing emotional control daily. Emotional control is not something you master in one day. It is a skill you build through consistent practice. Just like a muscle, it grows stronger every time you train it. And life gives you opportunities to train every single day. When someone cuts you off in traffic, you can choose patience instead of anger. When someone speaks rudely, you can choose silence instead of reacting. When a message irritates you, you can choose to breathe before responding. When plans change unexpectedly, you can choose flexibility instead of frustration. When someone misunderstands you, you can choose clarity instead of defensiveness. When things do not go your way, you can choose calmness instead of panic. When someone tries to provoke you, you can choose wisdom instead of impulse. These small moments may seem insignificant, but each one is a stepping stone toward emotional mastery. Every time you remain calm in a situation that used to trigger you, you grow stronger. Every time you respond with intention rather than emotion, you gain more control. Over time, something remarkable happens. The things that once upset you lose their power. The triggers that once controlled you no longer affect you in the same way. You begin to see your own transformation, quiet, steady, and powerful. Emotional control becomes your natural state, not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. You evolve, you rise, you become the calmest version of yourself. Chapter 16. Protecting your emotional energy. Your emotional energy is one of the most valuable resources you have, yet most people give it away too easily. They react to everything and everyone around them, every rude comment, every misunderstanding, every inconvenience, every piece of negativity life throws at them. But emotionally strong people know a powerful truth. Your peace is priceless, and not everyone deserves access to it. Protecting your emotional energy means guarding your inner world with intention. It means being selective about what you allow to disturb you. It means understanding that your reactions are investments, and you should spend them wisely. Protect your time by refusing to engage in pointless arguments or draining conversations. Protect your attention by choosing what you focus on instead of letting the world decide for you. Protect your boundaries by saying no without guilt when something threatens your mental well-being. Protect your mental clarity by stepping away from people or situations that constantly bring chaos. You do not owe anyone your emotional energy. You do not have to react to prove yourself. You do not have to explain your decisions or justify your peace. Let people think what they want. Let situations unfold without dragging you into emotional storms. The truth is simple. The less you react, the more power you keep. When you stop giving away your emotional energy to every disturbance, you become stronger, steadier, and more grounded. You begin to live from a place of calm confidence, not emotional exhaustion. And that is how you build a life where your peace becomes your greatest strength, not your greatest vulnerability. Chapter 17. The Gift of Emotional Maturity. Emotional maturity is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. It is the moment you stop blaming the world for your emotions and start understanding yourself from the inside. It means you can look at your feelings with honesty instead of fear. You begin to recognize what triggers you and why. You see the patterns in your reactions. You understand the wounds that certain situations touch. And with that understanding, something powerful happens. You gain choice. You are no longer controlled by your impulses or guided by your anger. You are no longer a prisoner of your past experiences. Emotional maturity allows you to step into a higher version of yourself, one that responds instead of reacts. With emotional maturity, you discover the freedom of choosing calm over chaos, even when chaos is tempting. You choose understanding over anger, even when anger feels justified. You choose patience over impulse, even when your emotions push you to act immediately. You choose silence over conflict, not because you are afraid, but because you value peace over unnecessary battles. You choose peace over drama, not because you are weak, but because you understand the cost of giving your energy to things that do not matter. This is what maturity looks like. Not perfection, but awareness. Not silence, but wisdom. Not emotionlessness, but emotional intelligence. Emotional maturity is the milestone where you finally realize that your reactions shape your reality. And when you begin choosing your responses with intention, you begin shaping a life filled with clarity, peace, and true inner strength. This is growth. This is power. This is the beautiful evolution of becoming emotionally mature. Chapter 18. Becoming unshakable. Imagine reaching a point where your emotions no longer control you, where you stand calm even when life becomes chaotic, where you remain centered even when people try to pull you into conflict, where you stay balanced even when the world around you feels unstable. This unshakable state is not a dream or an impossible goal. It is the natural result of daily emotional training, self-awareness, and consistent practice. Becoming unshakable does not mean you stop feeling emotions. It means your emotions no longer overpower your judgment. It means you trust yourself enough to stay composed instead of collapsing into reaction. It means you have built a solid inner foundation that cannot be easily disturbed by external noise. When you reach this level of emotional strength, your life begins to transform. You no longer overthink every word someone says to you. You no longer replay conversations in your mind, wondering if you did something wrong. You no longer worry constantly about how others perceive you. You stop chasing approval, validation, or acceptance from people who may not even understand you. You stop taking things personally because you finally understand that most people's behavior is a reflection of their inner world, not yours. And with this understanding comes freedom. Freedom from anxiety. Freedom from emotional exhaustion. Freedom from unnecessary drama. Becoming unshakable means you carry peace within you wherever you go. It means your calm becomes your strength. It means your clarity becomes your power. It means your emotional stability becomes your superpower. This kind of freedom is not given to you. You create it. And once you experience it, you will never want to live any other way. Chapter 19. Mastering Your Internal World. Everything in your life begins inside you. Your thoughts, your emotions, your perspective, your reactions, your decisions, your peace. When you learn to master your internal world, the external world loses its power to control you. Emotional mastery is not about pretending everything is fine. It is not about suppressing your feelings or acting like you are unaffected. True control comes from understanding your emotions, not denying them. It comes from observing what you feel, without letting those emotions dictate your actions. It comes from choosing your response instead of allowing impulses to decide for you. Your internal world is the real battlefield. If your mind is chaotic, the world will feel chaotic. If your emotions are unstable, everything around you will feel unstable. But when you create inner peace, you begin to move through life with strength and clarity. You become the master of your mind, not the prisoner of your reactions. You begin to notice the moments when your emotions rise, and instead of reacting, you breathe, observe, and choose your response with intention. Ask yourself every day, what kind of person do I want to be? Do you want to be calm, patient, wise, balanced, strong? Then practice being that person in the small moments, because the small moments are where your true character is built. When you choose patience in frustration, you build emotional stability. When you choose silence in provocation, you build wisdom. When you choose understanding over judgment, you build inner peace. Mastering your internal world is a lifelong practice, but every moment you choose awareness over impulse, you become stronger. And as your inner world becomes steady, the outer world can no longer shake you. Chapter 20. Your New Emotional Identity. From this moment forward, you have the chance to build a new emotional identity, one that comes from strength, not reaction. This identity is not about pretending to be calm. It is about truly becoming calm. It is about choosing who you want to be, instead of letting emotions define you. Your new identity is someone who does not react instantly, someone who observes before responding, someone who understands before judging, someone who thinks before speaking, someone who chooses peace even when chaos invites them into conflict, someone who remains centered even when the world around them tries to pull them off balance, someone who stays powerful because they stay in control of themselves. But here is the truth. This identity is not built in big moments. It is built in the tiny, everyday moments that seem unimportant. When someone irritates you and you choose patience instead of anger, you strengthen this identity. When someone tries to provoke you and you choose silence instead of reacting, you strengthen this identity. When life surprises you with obstacles and you choose calm instead of panic, you strengthen this identity. Every small victory builds the foundation of who you are becoming. Over time, these small choices accumulate and shape your emotional character. They form a new version of you, steady, grounded, clear-minded, and unshakable. This is your transformation. This is your evolution. This is the identity you are stepping into, one deliberate choice at a time. You are not the person you used to be. You are becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more in control. And this new version of you will change the way you experience everything in life. Conclusion: the power of not reacting. The greatest strength you can ever develop is the ability to control your emotions, no matter what is happening around you. When you learn the power of not reacting, you are no longer a slave to external chaos. You become the master of your inner world. Every time you choose not to react, you protect something valuable. You protect your peace from being disturbed. You protect your energy from being wasted. You protect your power from being taken. You protect your future from being shaped by temporary emotions. And most importantly, you protect your mind from unnecessary suffering. This is the real meaning of emotional strength. Somewhere in the middle of your journey, a reminder will rise within you. Achiefly Audiobooks. A voice that encourages you to grow, to stay centered, and to keep building the version of yourself you are proud of. Because emotional mastery is not learned in a day. It is built through awareness, practice, and intentional living. Every situation that once triggered you becomes an opportunity to rise above your old patterns. Every challenge becomes a lesson. Every moment of discomfort becomes a chance to choose a higher version of yourself. You cannot control the world. You cannot control people. You cannot control their words, their actions, or their opinions. But you can always control how you respond. And when you control yourself, you control your life. Your reactions shape your destiny. Your calmness shapes your identity. Your emotional discipline shapes your success. This inner power is not given by anyone. It is built by you through consistent choices, silence, stillness, and self-awareness. The power you seek has always been inside you. It was never missing, only undiscovered. This is the power of not reacting. This is emotional freedom. This is the beginning of a new chapter, a new identity, a new strength, a new life.